Hi guys, how's it going and all of that? I've done a video of this already up on TikTok and all of that. If you guys want to check me out, I'm over on there as well. I'll put a link in, somewhere or wherever. But anyway, I got Beauty alumni, over there. Okay, so but yeah, I'm looking at the post again about the WRU and Richard Collier Keywood, and he talked about Goldman Sachs and HSBC back in the Welsh Rugby Union and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And anybody that's studied the Goldman Sachs over the years with the JP Morgans and all of them and so forth, as well as the central banks and a lot more over the years, knows that they go around causing debt to countries and all that, and then you get the idiots. They'll be like, "Oh, we're getting this, we're getting that," and then before long, you realize, "Oh, you've got this debt to pay back," and then you lose everything, and the whole country then implodes and stuff like that. Which we almost saw out in Dubai, where one of the princes almost got screwed over. Because they built this lovely island type thing, and the bank said, "Oh, right, you can't pay back the debt that the money we lent you. Oh, give us your oil." But luckily, one of the neighbours, bailed him out, and he didn't have to get rid of the oil back to the banks. And I've seen a similar pattern happen again in Wales. We're seeing like Goldman Sachs now and all of that are coming in, and the thing is, rugby in Wales is almost like a commodity of ours, an asset that keeps the people proud and all that. And I think this is one of the reasons why Goldman Sachs and the bank cartels are going after it, because if they take away Welsh rugby and all that, that will put a devastation blow to a lot of Welsh people. Me, I have not fanatical about rugby no more, so if it goes, it goes. It doesn't affect me no more. But a lot of people in Wales that love seeing the Welsh rugby team go out there and so forth, and win when they win. And when they lose, you can see it in their faces. They're like, "Oh my god," and they're willing the boys, and the women to win again. That's how much rugby is. It's like the Bible almost, like in some people's hearts. And it's a good family day out as well and stuff like that. And but what I've noticed since Goldman Sachs has come in and all that, and it says here, the Welsh Rugby Union has redefined its debt, banks and debts, think about it, on a more favourable terms with a new £60 million facility. All right. So the banks do what they normally do. "Oh, you want this? Let us give you this." And then in the future, if you can't pay back the debt, yeah, they got you by the balls. I made different things, right? And it says union has entered into a short-term bridging funding arrangement. What is that bridging thing? We need to look into this, people. Funding arrangement with HSBC and US investment bank Goldman Sachs. And we've heard, what's his name, Trumpy Poo's on about, should we go into Britain next and take over Britain? But anyway, we'll get into that, in future weeks. But anyway, it has refinanced its full debt facilities it had with NatWest Bank, around a 35 million and a 12.4 million owed to the Welsh Government. The deal significantly increases its debt position. We already see Welsh rugby struggling right now. Putting it into more debt is going to destroy Welsh rugby. And like we've already seen for this weekend with the Welsh and French game, the France and Wales game, right? That they try to give away tickets for free. That's not a good sign. Because what you need to do to pay a debt off or whatever, you need to have money coming in so you can keep paying the debt off. But if you're giving away tickets for free, you can't pay a debt off. Or whatever. So we're going to see a lot of dark times in Welsh rugby alone. That's without the other sides in Wales that's going on with homelessness and everything else. Okay. And essentially, the Cardiff Bay administration provided commercial loans of around 18 million to the union in 2022 after it refinanced a coronavirus large business interruption loan scheme. I mean, because what they should be doing more than anything, and I mean, I saw this come in like so many others did. You know, what I mean, when we looked at the Rockefeller Foundation thing, the Science, Technology, Future Scenarios document, as well as ours, and we knew a lot of businesses, if they closed down under the scamdemic we saw and all of that, we're going to see a lot of job losses. We're going to see a lot of facilities closed down. You know, and now we're seeing like the Welsh Rugby Union are being affected because they went along with a scam, basically. I mean, and a lot of people went along because they bought into the fear mongering. A lot went along and bought into it, and no matter myself through my podcast, up on Spreaker.com at the time, I mean, and me doing my Twitch at the time as well, speaking on there as well as, I mean, and you had everybody else as well on their channels speaking out and so forth, and there was few of us, including myself, would up with posters, this, that, and everything else, and we tried to tell people that, but people's pride and ego got in the way because they're too busy going, well, we haven't even on the TV yet. No, because you're supposed to do this stuff yourselves. Don't you trust yourselves and checking things out yourselves? Don't you trust that thing in your head to go look for yourselves? You know what I mean? That's why, you know what I mean, you're born with your own brain. Because you need to look this stuff for yourself. You don't just go along what anybody says. You know what I mean? If someone told me to go off a jump off a bridge, you know what I mean? Would I do it? No. You know what I mean? I checked first. There was water there. Anyway. But anyway. And even then, I checked if any rocks and so forth, because the water may be shallow. You know what I mean? So you check, for dangers and stuff like that. I mean, and you make, you know what I mean, and also you make sure you've got the skills that you can swim in it, and check the current as well. You know, because sometimes the current could be stronger than your swimming ability. So there's many factors taken, you check before you leap, innit, guys? But a lot of these people, they didn't check, did they? They just went along, you know what I mean? So that's why you can't trust these people. You know what I mean? Those who just went along with the scamdemic, you know what I mean? They know different from all those that, that go along with order following throughout the centuries and all of that. They're no different. So when it comes to this, with the WRU and something and the Welsh Government. And we know the Welsh Government have been bought out by the Zionists anyway. We know that left, right, and centre. They go along with surveillance and enslaving people all the flipping time. You know what I mean? Same with the English Parliament. You know what I mean? The UK Parliament in general. I mean, they go along. Keeping the public enslaved and all that left, right, and centre, and destroying people's lives so they become homeless and all of that. And yet we see idiots going, "Oh look, you're homeless," and all that, poking fun. And yet they shit scared of the rich, they shit scared of people in Parliament and all that. That's causing all the destruction that will make them homeless and all that. You know what I mean? Come on. We need to get at these fuckers once and for all. You know what I mean? We need to sort of like basically stop funding politicians. We need to stop funding the banking cartels and all of that and so forth. We need to close all these fuckers down, to be honest. Because, the banking cartels are one of the main reasons why we're all in flipping debt right now. You know what I mean? It's why countries are in debt right now. It's because of the banking cartels on a major level. You know what I mean? Why do you think governments think I've got to take more loans out? Because they've got to try and pay back the debt from these things, and banks are getting ready to call all that in. The bank cartels are getting ready to call all those loans in right around the world. They're ready to call it in for England, for Wales, for Scotland, Ireland, America, all around the world. They're ready to collapse every country down. Think about that. So it's not the unemployed that's the problem. It's the banking cartels that's the problem. It's not the homeless that's the problem. It's the banking cartels that's the problem. I mean, it's not, ISIS or anything. It's the bank that funds fucking everything. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? So if we want to see Wales or wherever do well again, know your enemies. Because it isn't the homeless and it isn't, people who take up mortgages and all of that and so forth and everything else. You know what I mean? Stop voting for the criminals and stop go along with the bank cartels and end of, you know what I mean, and stop go along with Zionism. Okay, take care for now.